You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important.
Because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you're denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Yikes.
You know, once again, if you can't articulate your argument plainly to a 5-year-old, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that right there sounds like everybody on social media when she was like, "Are you? Are you?
Right?
Are you?"
They're
Like
just trying to bait you into an emotional argument,
Yeah.
so then you're not able to function your rational brain and get you to take the emotional bait. But in answer to her question, there are men that can give birth. We've proven it.
Yeah.
Wait.
They can have a baby. They can be pregnant. They can carry a pregnancy. They deliver a cesarean.
Are we talking about trans men?
Well,
They used to be a woman,
Yes.
and then they.
Yes. But biologically,
but by her argument, are those men or are those women?
Well, by her argument, it's not a biological.
Wait, are you a cis man or a cis woman first?
Well, no.
And then are you a?
No, you might be trans, but biologically, you still have a man's body.
Your line of
Wait, I think you might be marginalizing a group and inciting violence by your statement.
Your line of answering is transphobic.
Yes, yes, I agree. You're marginalizing people that don't identify with that.
I know. A biological man cannot be pregnant and have a baby. They cannot.
Well, what defines the nature of biologic man?
How you were
Carrying
born.
eggs.
Because if we go back to the nature of birthing persons.
Persons.
Enough. You shut your mouth right now.
I'm just repeating what our elected representatives are trying to help mirror for us on the public spectrum.
I know.
Your tone of voice is not sarcastic in any way either.
Well, this is my...
Yeah, no, he does this in real life too. Like, we're going to play devil's advocate even though I agree with you.
Are you trying to incite violence by citing my tone of voice? Are you?
Gracious.
This is a great clip.
Are you?
This is a great clip.
Are you?
Yeah, are you? Are you?
Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
The madness.
I don't understand why we have to be so bent out of shape if we identify people by the gender that was assigned to them by nature at birth.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
No.
I didn't do it. If anything, that person who's claiming no responsibility is directly responsible for that action.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so why do you get mad at me? Like, I'm sorry, I called you the wrong pronoun. Can you put your pronoun on your shirt? That would have helped me, because I don't know what to call anybody anymore without offending anybody.
I know.
It's ridiculous. It happens multiple times a week now. We'll call somebody by their medical, legal, given name from birth, and people don't like that. They vehemently demand that we call them the correct name, which we don't even know what it is, by the way, because you haven't legally changed it. You haven't changed it on the medical form, the insurance form that you want us to use to bill so that you don't have to pay full price. All these things. But yet, if we get something wrong, we get yelled at.
You're actually seeing that in your line of work?
Absolutely.
Really?
As a pediatric dentist. Yep. Once again, pediatrics.
Yeah, if we get if we
That's
call somebody,
insane.
if we call Jamie Johnny, because Johnny's his birth name. Johnny's his legal name. Johnny's the name on his medical records. Johnny's the name on his insurance. But,
But you accidentally call him Johnny.
if we call him Johnny instead of Janie, even though we didn't know there was a change, man, we pay for it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually...
I have told you guys multiple times. We don't have any record of that. Well, I told you when I called on the phone to confirm my appointment that Jamie was going to be there.
Because we don't see hundreds of people every day.
So in a split second, as we're calling and say, hey, is Johnny be there? Yeah, Jamie will be there. I'm supposed to pick up. Wait a minute. Now we're supposed to legally change his name for you.
Which you can't. Legally you cannot.
Well, so if we bill it under the name they want us to bill it for, they're going to pay full price and not get any benefit of their insurance.
Right, because insurance is going to be like, who's this person?
Right, that person does not exist.
Okay, but that's such a common sense thing. I don't understand. Why has everybody lost their minds?
I don't know why.
Come on.
I don't know. I feel like, Andy, I was listening to Andy Frizzell. He was talking about CERN. And he was like, dude, I think CERN opened up an alternative universe. All of a sudden we're all living in it.
What's that?
Is that the thing in Sweden?
CERN?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an acronym for this scientific.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Sweden. It's when they basically...
Let's find out. European Operation for Nuclear Research.
Apparently, people are saying that they exploded it in a dimension or something like that. That's why Andy Frisella was probably joking about it and saying I think we're in a different dimension right now.
Yeah, he's like, I think they opened an alternative universe and we're all living in it somehow. None of this crap makes any sense, man. You have that bodega shop owner that was being robbed.
Bodega shop owner.
Yes.
Yeah, and this was in...
This is weird for me because there's a bar in my hometown called Bodega.
Really?
So
goodness, I feel like I got to fact check everything now. I can't just shoot.
Hey, that's all right.
Bodega shop.
We're giving the audience the facts.
Bodega shop owner.
We're trying.
Let's just see what that brings up. In the Bronx, there was I don't know what a bodega is. It looked like a convenience store.
I don't know what it is either.
Anyways,
the way they described it.
There was a woman that had a knife, and somehow an altercation broke out between the woman and the store owner. She went on and got her boyfriend, who had just gotten out of jail, and he had been in jail. I don't necessarily.
Career criminal is all they described him, right?
Yeah, but I think he was I think he was in jail. He just got out of jail for murder. And the boyfriend comes in, pushes the guy. There's video about it. And while the man kind of pushes the assailant back, the lady stabs the bodega owner in the arm. Okay? So the lady stabbed the bodega owner.
Where'd she come with the knife?
Yeah, she just had a knife.
So then the bodega owner grabs a knife of his own, kills the assailant. Okay.
Oh, he killed her.
Killed her boyfriend that she went to go help her cause.
Oh God.
And so he killed her boyfriend in self-defense.
I can already tell where this is going.
And guess who's in jail?
He is.
The bodega owner, not the person that actually did the initial stabbing.
Didn't he get...
It was self-defense.
Yeah.
He was going to get murdered
and he was
robbed.
And isn't he 65?
He was afraid for his life. Yeah,
he's an older guy.
Older guy.
And he's loved in the community. The whole community loves this guy. He's a good guy, does good things, never had a criminal past at all, never had any problems, and now he's in jail.
Wow.
Unreal.
It's so weird because you have something like that, he's in jail. But then I saw another news report yesterday where 3 assailants, quote unquote, came to this guy's door and then were going to break into his house, or trying to. And then they started to pull out a gun, and then he shot at them with what they called an AK style gun. But he didn't get thrown in jail because they considered it self-defense, and there's nothing wrong with that. So
what state was that in?
I'll double check that.
Was that in Texas or something? I think it was.
If it was in Texas, I totally understand.
I think it was in a state that looks favorably upon being able to defend yourself against violent assailants. Whereas New York and California are quickly becoming places where if you're attacked, Florida, there you go.
Yep.
So where if you're attacked, you just need to lay down and take it, or else you're going to go to jail for defending yourself. Because my counselor always says, if you want to know why something's happening, what you look for is the outcome that continually becomes served by the pattern behavior. Mm-hmm. So the pattern of behavior here is we let criminals do whatever they want. We punish law-abiding citizens when they retaliate back, when they use guns or knives to defend themselves. we are trying to teach the public, you do not defend yourself. You are helpless. You must remain helpless. You must call on us, the government, to come save you. If you don't, you will be punished. You will go to jail. And they're doing that to push totalitarian agenda. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Because
it's not about civil rights, because that man's civil rights didn't matter. It's not about civic rights. That man's civic rights didn't matter. It's not about right and wrong. That man was perfectly innocent, an older gentleman trying to provide a living for himself. And who knows, I don't know if he has family or whatever. He was a business owner. He was running his own business. These people were trying to rob him. He tried to stop a robbery. They attacked him. He tried to defend his life, and he's in jail.
What state was this in? New York?
New York.
Well, that makes sense.
Right, but it's ridiculous.
But
so New York has a lot to lose.
It used to be a United States thing.
Sure.
Like, you did this, you self-defense, you're fine. Now it's like, well, if you did it in California, you did it in New York,
right,
you're going to be in jail.
That's what's kind of driving me nuts about this whole. So like you were talking about Brittany, what's her name? That's
Brittany
in jail.
Griner.
Yeah, in Russia, right? So she's in jail because she had a CBD cartridge in Russia.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
And she didn't know it was illegal in Russia. So first thing, always check the laws of where you're traveling, right?
Yeah.
It kind of drives me nuts. Like in Arizona, I can have knives, whatever. In Hawaii, if you have a mechanically assisted knife, you're going to jail. I didn't know that. If I had an experience. We were going through the airport coming home from Hawaii, and we'd been backpacking. So I had my Spyderco knife in my backpack because when we'd been hiking with my backpack, we saw some gnarly stuff, man. I didn't want to get eaten by something. I don't know what the wildlife is there. And so I had my Spyderco was in there. I didn't want to get bit by a crazy spider. And I don't even know if they have venomous snakes in Hawaii. I don't think they do.
I don't know.
I didn't know. Anyway, so we had it. Just, a readiness item that I always have with me is you generally have a knife. And so I forgot it was in my backpack going through security at the airport. And the guy's like, oh, bro, you got to come with me. He was cool. But I was like, what'd I do? He goes, there's a knife in your bag. He goes, it looks like a nice one. He goes, I think it's a Spyderco. I was like, dang it. It is a Spyderco. He goes, oh yeah. He's like, you don't want me to have to throw that away. And I was like, well, what do I do? He goes, look, there's a little mail station. You got to go right out back past security. There's a little mail at home station. It's $20. You just throw in an envelope. There's a self-provided envelope. Seal it. You pay $20. You mail it home to yourself. He goes, that way I don't have to throw it away. There's no problem. It's like, perfect. Like, that is great. I was like, thank you so much. So I thought, crap, I found a knife in my bag. I'm, whatever, airport security. He goes, it's a good thing it wasn't mechanically assisted. I was like, why is that? He goes, well, he's like, last week I saw that. This is the second coolest knife.
Is that considered a switchblade or something like that? I guess
that would be a switchblade, or even like a stiletto that comes out straight, or a switchblade that comes out sideways. Gotcha. Anything mechanically assisted. Okay. Now I don't know if their spring assisted counts as mechanically assisted.
I don't know,
because I do have some spring assisted knives that are not mechanically assisted. They're not a switch. Anyway, I don't know, but the nuance in Hawaii law would be important to understand, because he told me, so this is the second coolest knife that I've ever seen come through security. I was like, what was the first coolest? He goes, last week there was a guy that had a blade, and when you push the button, half of the blade comes from one side, half of the blade comes from the other side, and it forms, a knife. He goes, but since it was mechanically assisted, I had to pull him aside and call the sheriff, and he went to jail.
Really?
It's like, dang, dude. He was the same thing. He's like, he forgot it was in his backpack. He didn't know it was illegal.
Yeah.
He's like, well, unfortunately, since I saw it, I had to call the sheriff. Well, so this, I just posted, it was on Breitbart, where is it Enes Kanter? Is that how you say his name?
Yep.
Enes Kanter.
He just got his citizenship, I think, last year.
Former Bolton Celtics star Enes Kanter was responding to LeBron James' comment. LeBron James came out, opened his mouth, and said that he would be surprised if Brittany Griner wanted to come back to the United States. And he says she's been over there for 110 days. Now, how could she feel like America has her back? I'd be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America? He said. And after the significant backlash, James tweeted Tuesday that his statement was taken out of context. I was simply saying how she is probably feeling emotionally alone with so many other emotions, thoughts, etc. Inside that cage she's been in for over 100 days, James tweeted. Enes Kanter, Freedom, however, did not accept LeBron James' explanation, calling it a walkback, that LeBron James has no idea what it's like to live in a dictatorship. Mm-hmm. He says, you call it a step back. We call this a walkback, Enes said. You are free to leave, buddy, or you can even volunteer for an exchange for her. Some people literally have no idea what it is like to live in a dictatorship. keep taking your freedom for granted. And I just love that he said that.
Yeah. Well, he's from Zurich, Switzerland. And once he came to the States to play, they weren't letting him go back because they felt he was like a traitor to their country. And so he wasn't allowed to go back to see his family. And if he went back, he was going to be thrown in jail and wasn't going to come back to the States.
Oh, wow.
And so he was having issues getting his citizenship here. And then he finally got it last year. And he's so like pro-America. He loves this place. Like, you know, he understands what it's like.
He understands to know what it's like to not have freedom.
I think most immigrants are.
Yeah, exactly.
That way.
And you know, and here we are, we have this society now that is running towards total totalitarian control because they want to feel safe. Mm-hmm. How safe do you really feel? How safe do you really feel if you got to ask the government if you can go to Circle K? How safe do you really feel? How safe do you really feel if you got to ask the government if it's okay if you drink tonight at your home? Legally, you know, how safe do you really feel if you got to ask the government if it's okay to take out $100 from your bank account? Because those are all proposals on the table right now in our own Congress to have the government in control, snooping of, not necessarily in control of your personal bank accounts, but snooping them, looking at them, understanding every transaction you have, looking for if it's impropriety or not. You know, Australia, they had an app during the pandemic where if they pinged you on the app and you didn't respond within 5 minutes, they dispatched health officials to come help you be safe. But you had to post a picture with location and timestamp to verify that you are where the government wants you to be within 5 minutes. Like, do you really want that? Do you really feel safe that way? Because if you aren't there, guess what? You go to jail. And in most totalitarian governments, you actually end up getting killed.
Yeah.
You know,
look at Korea.
In the 1900s, for the century, you know, 1900 to 2000, it's estimated that totalitarian governments killed over 180 million of their own citizens.
Yeah.
Now, you know, Mao Zedong, when he did the communist takeover of China, you had Stalin in the Soviet Union, and those two dictatorships alone account for over 100 million deaths of their own citizens that they willingly killed because they would not comply. They wouldn't go along. So the most dangerous the most dangerous entity in your life is actually your government. Mm-hmm. And it's proven time and time again.
Yeah.
And why are we running to, hey, government, come save me. Hey, government, take control of my life. And I think that's kind of like LeBron and Enos just had a little discussion on freedom versus dictatorship. And apparently LeBron would much rather live in a dictatorship he assumes, because he's the anointed one, he's King James, that he's going to have all the same freedoms, liberties, and abilities and wealth that he does currently. Well, he only will as long as he's one of their clowns or as long as he's one of their cronies and he's doing exactly what they tell him to, because the minute he stops, they take him out. Mm-hmm. That's what happens in every communist dictatorship. Read your history, people. I posted earlier this week. You can either understand history correctly or you can trust your government. You cannot do both. And Ronald Reagan even said it. Government is not the answer to your problems. Government is the problem. That was the president of the United States.
Yeah.
He had nothing to gain by telling you, hey, I'm part of the problem, guys.
Yeah.
You need to understand, I represent the problem.
Which is why the government hated Trump so much.
Because he wasn't an insider.
Yeah.
Wasn't a career politician.
Yep.
Yeah, he was really more one of us than he wasn't.
Yeah. Granted, there's some things that he said, yes, I don't agree with. But
well, hey, I
don't need to agree on everything you say.
I can only think of one president that I've been alive for that I'd actually want to sit down and have dinner with. You know? I would, maybe two. It would be fun to have dinner with. It'd be fun to have dinner with Trump. But I was Ronald Reagan. I love that guy. He was the great communicator. He was just a sincere man. I don't think he did everything great.
See, I'd want to sit down with Trump because I want to have all the insights of his boxing.
Boxing? He was boxing?
No. Well, like he was the one that put boxing kind of like in Atlantic City because of when he went down there and opened up Trump Towers.
Yeah.
UFC wasn't packing out events, wasn't doing well
Trump
at all.
Did?
Yeah. And Dana White said that Trump came to him and was like, hey, I'll start putting you on the map with UFC. Huh. And that's why Dana White loves Trump so much, because basically UFC is because of Trump. But
are we in rumor territory here?
No.
We're going to get fact checked, bro.
That's true.
We're going to get fact checked.
This brand was so bad that venues didn't even want us. You know, these arenas didn't want us at there. They're like, whoa, we don't want this stuff in our arena. So we had a hard time finding venues. And Trump literally called us. Now remember this, think about this, where the Trump brand was. Here, UFC brand was down here. Come to my place, you know, do the event here, we'll have you at the Trump Taj Mahal, blah, 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 blah. We get there, greatest setup for us, he did this whole thing for us, showed up to the first fight and was there till the last fight. Both times we went there. Everything that happened to me in my career from there on out, he would pick up the phone and congratulate me or send something. Always been a solid guy with me.
Trump would be interesting. I didn't love everything he said, but what I did love about Trump was that he didn't have a filter.
The economy?
And the filter being, being the media, right? He didn't ask for permission to say what he wanted to say. Mm-hmm. You had a direct link from your president that you is representing your country, whether you voted for him or not, he's still your president. I love the bumper sticker. It's not my president. Well, technically he is. Obama was technically my president too. And Obama said some great things. He's a phenomenal speaker. He's a great orator.
Yeah. And
he had some good things to say. I don't necessarily agree with most of his policies, but some of the things he did were good.
Obamacare.
Let's not get there.
We won't go down that route.
And again, back to totalitarianism and the government taking control of your health. I mean, if you want, everybody's like, oh, well, Cuba and Canada have universal health care. Okay. You try to go get ACL replacement in Canada. You have a disability now. You were playing pickup basketball game, tear your ACL.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take you to get that repaired in Canada?
Exactly.
Because I know people that have had to do that.
Yeah.
And they just gave up. They basically just had to quit doing what they were doing for long enough that they could get the procedure. So it was going to take over a year and a half to even be
I know athletes in Canada that had to come to the States to get their ACL worked on and go back to Canada to keep playing.
Right. And so there's a reason people do that. It's because we have, as jacked up as our healthcare system is, the free market system works.
Yeah.
One of the reasons our healthcare system is as jacked up as it is because of insurance, lobbyists, and the government are already screwing it up. It's not the healthcare system that's inherently wants to be screwed up.
I think they just said in Canada too that you can't own a pistol with more than 5 rounds.
Yeah, Trudeau's going crazy on
gun control. Can't use a gun in self-defense.
Once again, the message being, you are not allowed to defend yourself.
Right.
You're too stupid or you don't do it right. This is what they will tell you. But ultimately, the message is if you defend yourself, you'll be punished. Because the only people that can defend anybody is us, the government.
You have to ask for permission to go hunting. What if
you're hungry and that's how you feed your family?
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
You have to kind of ask for permission in the United States to go hunting too.
Yeah, just get a license.
Well, but if you don't have a license, that again though, right? And all that is really taxation.
Yeah.
Gotta pay a tax.
Yeah. Some of it is also, you got to draw your tag. They only give out certain tags in certain areas and stuff like that, which I understand because, you don't want people going over in eastern Montana just wiping out the antelope.
Right. Well, population control, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And herd management. Sensible hunting is championed. I know animal rights people don't like this, but they should though, because in order to have the healthiest herd possible, you have to have optimum population levels. Yes. When herds overpopulate the areas they're in, they all starve and die of malnutrition. Mm-hmm. So that's not good. That's not humane.
Yeah.
If you have responsible harvesting of animals and that they're not wasted, responsibly use and respect the resources the animal gives you as it's harvested, it actually helps maintain healthier animal populations and creates better habitat. I didn't even know we were going, bro. You hit the record on the sneak.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, this episode is the media reaction. What's in today's news? I will cut this to run smoothly.
If that's possible. Right? All right. So our producer's telling us we're going to wrap this up. We've just been talking about our reaction to some of the news items. We hope you enjoyed it. Catch you next time on The Value Script.